Good afternoon. This is your Pan-African show called Afreeqa and your host Katsalork Seifu. Today we have so far my youngest, who happens to be an amazing young man, musician. I'm going to ask you if you could introduce yourself. Welcome.
My name's Leeben, Tinos. I play the piano and percussion. I've been playing the piano for about 12 years now, and percussion for even longer, probably. And yeah, I go to lycée, and I'm 17 years old.
Wow, brilliant. So you are a musician, safe to say, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that before we get into details, I would love to know how you grew up, because I feel like you grew up in such nurtured way that's why who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
So exactly. So please tell us how you grew up.
Yeah, first of all, I wouldn't have been here without my family and the way I was raised.
Right.
I was born in New York, and I lived there till I was 5 years old. Actually, since I was in my mom's belly, my dad used to play music to me.
Okay.
He used to play, I think it was classical music, and also he would play some Afro beats for me. So before I was born even, I was listening to music, kind of. And yeah, at 2 years old, I started picking up the drums, and I got accepted into a school, even though I was a bit underage.
A bit, safe to say.
And yeah, so I took some courses in African drums, and when we moved to Ethiopia once I was 5, and that's when I started piano.
Okay.
So my piano lessons started in Addis with my teacher called Marinelle Bandian.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, and yeah, I've been with her ever since I was 5, 6 years old till today. I still take classes every week, and I still do recitals every year. And yeah, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be here doing this interview
Without
without
all
them.
of this put
Yeah.
together. Since you told me that, since you grew up, the way you grew up was so musically inclined, and you're a young man, I would love for you to see if you could, I mean, not advise, but tell parents, you know, once we parents find out, because that's the other thing, finding out whether your kids are musically inclined or even academy-wise.
Yeah.
But how we should nourish and how we should support our children. Because you got amazing support, that's why you're here.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see is closing off one path to a child. Because any human that's born into the world, like humans are the best imitating animals. So anything they see, they can imitate. So if you open your child up to any sort of path, music, sports, math, physics, anything really, he will try all of those things. And once the child finds out himself that he enjoys something more than another, then you nourish that. That's when you start to feed it, you start to let it grow. And sometimes from a very young age, for me it was since I was 2, kids show interest in a certain subject. So from that age on, you can start nourishing it and try to make it grow.
Right.
But I think it's the parents' job to plant the seed and to help water it and let it grow. But without the child knowing himself that he can do it, the tree will never grow.
Right. I normally play music in between our conversations. You are going to be playing the music for us. Okay. So we will take a break here. And what do you want to play for us? What would you like to play for our audience?
I'll start off with the classical piece. I'll play the Fantasy Impromptu piece by Chopin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was very, very good. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Now, I heard through the grapevine that you were in Berkeley for the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that's an amazing experience.
Definitely.
And I've also heard that you have completely grown
Yeah.
musically.
Yeah.
So I want to know that experience, how you found it, and how it made you grow. What was the difference between where you were and then where you went, and how you grew?
I think the main difference was the people I was surrounded by.
Right.
Going to Berkeley, obviously, is one of the biggest music schools in the world. So everyone there is at a high level of music. The standard there is very high. So, but while I'm here, with me playing music, there's not many people my age that play music at gigs or stuff like that. And it was very interesting to see people much younger than me play at such a high level. It's humbling, but I think that also it's such a nice way to learn, because for me, the best way I find that I learn fastest is playing with people that know things that I don't.
Right.
And everyone there knows something that you don't. Everyone there knows how to play something that you don't, knows something about music that you don't know. But you also, I
same
knew
goes.
something that they didn't know as well. So I think it's important not to feel sort of demoralized by a bunch of people who are at a higher level than you or whatever, because we're all doing music really, and all you're looking at is what they can do and what you can't. But I feel like the way I learned and why I managed to progress that much is because I managed to learn that much from the friends I made there and just playing with people.
Were they diverse in nationalities also?
Yes.
They were.
Yeah, there was from all around the world. There was Indian. There was a few Africans actually. I met people from Ivory Coast, from Central African Republic,
Nice.
from the Caribbean islands as well. It's very, very interesting, very diverse, and yeah, it's just beautiful. They all came for the same reason.
Exactly. It wasn't really intimidating. That would be the thing, because when you're young, sometimes you feel intimidated. So it wasn't. You weren't.
No, I think
That's good.
yeah, it's easy. It's easy to be intimidated there. And once I first got there, you know, I don't know anybody that's there. I don't even know what the standard is. I don't know how people play. And I was lucky enough to meet a lot of people that were very welcoming. And I think that's what's nice about Berkeley, is that a lot of the students there are from all around the world.
So what are the differences between the live listeners' experience in Ethiopia and in the Berkeley area? Did you get it? First, I maybe should have asked you, did you get a chance to actually perform?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was a part of about 3 ensembles, I think.
Okay.
And also we had formed a bunch of bands outside of the academic program as well. And it was very fun. We had a lot of performances at the last week. We were also just jamming on our own sessions for hours a day. And it was amazing, yeah.
So was there a difference between Addis Ababa and the Bay Area, and how us, the listeners, actually react to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference for me was the way the crowd reacted. At Berkeley, everyone has a high level of understanding of music. They've all played for many years, so they might find something special that a crowd in Ethiopia might not. And something I found was that I don't think that one is better or one is worse, but in Ethiopia, it's mainly based on energy as well. If you're able to provide energy, if you're able to be happy while you're performing, then people enjoy your music. Even if you're playing one note, it's still enjoyable. And at Berkeley, many people try to speak their own language of music, and they have a mutual understanding for it because they've played for a while. And I think that sort of experienced way of listening at Berkeley is not present here.
I think Berkeley is a very musical city. I mean, we are too, but you know, there's a cultural difference.
Yeah.
So you used to have a band. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if you still have them. I think we've kind of.
Yeah,
So
we've
tell
dropped
us a little bit about your band, how you got together, how you met, and you know, how you performed, because you were the youngest band in Addis.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny how we met. My dad had told me his friend had told him that his son played drums, and my dad came to me and he said, "Oh, I have a friend. His son plays the drums, and he's friends with the guitarist as well. And it would be nice if you guys could meet one day and stuff." And we never really got back to it. And then a few months later, maybe I went to Afreeqa on a Monday night just to like jam, and I met this guy, a guitarist, and he told me his name. He said his name was Matt, and that's what I realized when he was talking about his friend, the drummer, that it was the
That was
same
him.
people, yeah. And just by coincidence, we met. So I kept in touch with Matt, and then one day we just showed up at his friend's, the drummer's house. His name is Azu. And we showed up at Azu's house, and we just started jamming. And we at that point, we barely knew each other at all. But we didn't even really need to start a conversation or anything.
You just clicked.
Yeah, and from then on, it was we had a lot of success. We started playing a lot of gigs. There was a short period where the guitarist had went to college, but he came back for a break, and it was then that we started like doing as many gigs as we could. We started performing at places like Gion and stuff like that. And it was really an exciting experience to play with other people as well.
You've performed with a lot of people, you know, and it might be a difficult question. You really don't say one was better than the other. You just enjoy them all. But what was your best stage performance? With who was it? How was the experience? How you felt? And the reason why I'm asking you these questions is because you're young.
Yeah.
And all of these experiences must be like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have 3 favorites, but for different reasons.
Okay.
The first one was with my band, the LAJ Trio, the one I just talked about. We had a gig inside an empty pool, and it was very interesting. Yeah, we had mixed a bunch of different genres. I was playing the sub bass on my keyboard, and we did some dub, we did Afro beats. We collaborated with some singers, rappers, and the energy there was just amazing.
Where was this?
It was in Fana Park, Bole. It was just an amazing experience. It was very experimental, but people enjoyed it, and we were enjoying it a lot as well. I think for energy, that's what I would consider one of my most fun experiences. I think in terms of learning and educational purposes, one of the gigs I had at Berkeley was one of the most fun and the most inspiring to me, because I was surrounded by a lot of musicians who were my age or experienced musicians that are teachers, and them watching us play songs that we had rehearsed for a lot, and that it was just really an inspiring educational experience playing with them. So that's my second one. And then for the third one, I'd say my performance at the Skylight. I played for Germay Frasho, I played one of his arranged pieces.
The first performer will be Leeben Tinos. Leeben?
And I think it was definitely my most nervous one.
Yeah?
Yeah, in front of a lot of people, and I was the opening act, and it was the first concert grand piano and everything. It was very nerve-wracking. I don't usually get nervous, but
I didn't think so.
Time, yeah, I don't. But
why did you think you got nervous that night? The people?
I think
the energy?
Yeah, it was the first performance that was of that sort of caliber. And like thousands of people watching, and it was in a very like sophisticated environment. I'm in front of a bunch of people being recorded for TV and YouTube as well, And that was a bit nerve-wracking, but once I got my fingers on the piano, it was fine.
You forgot about us.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you like to play for us now?
Another piece I learned with my teacher. It's a Brazilian piece called the Tico Tico no Fuba.
Thank you very much. That was lovely. So how do you find yourself expressing yourself in jazz or classical idioms? Or do you have a third you're thinking about?
I think I don't really express myself in any of them. I think I express myself more through music.
Okay.
Because for me, playing straight jazz or straight classical, there's beauty in each of them, but I don't really think about what genre I'm playing. As long as it sounds good to me, I play it.
You just play it.
And I got into Afrobeats a lot as well the past few years, and I started producing a little bit. And I think even in country music or heavy metal or anything, it's very like helpful to listen to those with an open ear.
Right.
And to say that instead of just closing your mind and saying, I don't like this genre, to be able to say, even though I don't like some parts of it, there's always something that I can learn.
Right.
And I think that the way I express myself through my music is using stuff that I learned from one genre and putting it into another, or just playing whatever comes to me, really.
So you arrange your own. You produce your own.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. How did you get into that? And is there anything that is out currently or what you're thinking?
I think about 2-3 years ago, I started producing on Logic. I didn't really do it that often, but I'm getting more into it now the past few months since I came back from Berkeley. And I think it's very different, and it's a really good experience to have as a musician, because then you can visualize what instruments go where, and every time you want to compose something, it will be in your head if you do it regularly enough.
Right.
And that one of the hardest parts of being a musician is if you play one instrument, you want to play everything on that instrument. And I think being able to learn space, and sometimes that silence is the loudest part of the song, is really one of the most important things for a musician. To be able to, I think for group performances as well, being able to listen to other people is what makes a musician exceptional, I think. And that helps, producing really helps with knowing the place of each instrument and what goes where.
So you're enjoying doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
What is your favorite subject? We're going to get into the other side
Okay.
of your mind.
I think my favorite subjects would be math and physics.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just find it really interesting, and I'm very fascinated by space and astrophysics. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm planning on studying also abroad, coupled with music also, of course. And yeah, math and physics are really what I'm interested in the most.
I heard you were also an A student, so you being such an amazing musician also makes me wonder, how do you juggle between the two? Because you have to practice and you have to study, and especially since you said physics and math.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just
yeah.
reading,
Exactly.
you know? So how do you juggle between the two? How do you dedicate? How did you become so good?
It's hard.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very hard to balance sometimes. But I think the times where I found myself the most efficient at balancing the two is when I didn't make a clear separation line between my academics and my music. Whatever I needed to do at that point, or whatever I thought would be the most useful, is what I do. And if I have an assignment for the next day, that would come first, and then I can practice for the week after.
Okay.
And I think setting my priorities, and then also being able to balance the two by sort of mixing them. Someone who doesn't play, who's not a musician, but learning music and learning an instrument actually helps a lot in other subjects as well.
Right.
Like just the way you see everything, your reasoning, and it's just, that's why a lot of musicians I think are very good at math and physics, because music is a certain form of math.
Right.
If you put the right numbers to it. And it's also a perfect mix of math and also just everything that's artistic, emotional, and music in itself is erasing the line between the two. So in order to balance the music and the academics, you have to, I think for me, what was best was to erase the line between the two and be able to set my priorities and do whatever, and enjoy whatever I was doing.
Do you recommend, as a country, and the reason I'm asking this question too is because you just said that one helps the other. So if we as a country started incorporating music at a very young age, do you think we would produce more musicians and physicians, mathematicians?
Yeah.
You do recommend that?
Yes, definitely. I think keep an open mind to everything.
Yeah.
If you're able to expose anyone to music or to physics or to math at a young age, or to whatever subject really at a young age, he will become accustomed to it, and he will be able to have a deeper understanding of it, I think. And that's when your brain is the most absorbent. Yeah, it's absorbing everything that it's seen, that it sees, and it's the being formed as you age. And that's the most important thing, I think, at that age, is being exposed to everything.
Okay. Do you find answers in physics within the Ethiopian culture?
I think recently I've been discovering that a lot of people make a clear difference between physics, math, and then religion.
Exactly.
And religion is a big part of Ethiopian culture. And I'm starting to realize more that a lot of the parts of religion are different ways of explaining what is being said in physics or math. Math uses proof, uses whatever it has, and everything needs to be proven. And in religion, showing the same sort of values and results, but through different words. And I think just the separation in the language, in the words, is what makes the two clash and what makes people think that they're completely different.
Right.
But, so yeah, I do actually think that it's, once you clear that separation, it's easy to find.
You could see it in a different.
Yeah, it's easier to find in whatever culture, whether it be religion, the food, or anything, you would find answers for physics or any real subject that you want, even philosophy or anything.
So we have come to the end of our lovely discussion, but what I want to ask you is, as a young man, what do you recommend? Because I can't say advice since you're young, but what do you recommend? And I'm talking about even parents. Even for parents, I would like you to say, you know, X, Y, and Z. And even to your age youngsters, what do you say to them as a closing?
I'd say for the parents, I'd say embrace whatever your child is interested in, and to always be open to what's happening in the world. Sometimes closing something off is the worst thing you can do for someone who's growing up, to be in a world where everything is going to be open for him. And for the children, I would say I think, don't be afraid to try anything, really. Anything that you seem interested in, try it once, or try it as many times as you want. Just be able to form your mind to judge whether you think it's good for you personally, or whether you think you would be better off not doing it. And I think it's good for the parents to give the tools to the kids to learn and to search, and for the kids to search and to judge whatever they think is good for them.
Thank you very much. Thank you for staying with us. This was your show, Afreeqa, with your host, Katsalark Seifu. We were with Leeben Tinos today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity,
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
we wish you the best of luck.
Thank
And the
you.
next time me and you talk, hopefully it's going to be bigger and greater things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.